Well, we're back, waiting all day for Sunday Night Podcast. Happy month of April. He is Chase Younts at Younts Chase 32. I'm Alex Frank at Frankie _ Natty. That is not an April Fool's joke. It is April Fool's Day. I have not been pranked yet, Chase. Have you?
No, I'm not. I haven't. Anytime you enter Twitter on this day, I mean, you're in for anything. Twitter as a whole is its own entity, but yeah, I try to avoid Twitter usually today, which is tough to do. But you never know what you're going to see on there in any day, of the week, especially April Fool's Day.
I'll tell you, the Lockdown Podcast Network, the president sent a company-wide email of new compliance rules. And I instantly knew that it was an April Fool's joke because it said, for one of the things we must comply with, if you do not comply with this, you will have to take a literal 1 mile run break and then come back to the show and host it out of breath. And I'm like, yeah, this is April Fool's. Thank you very much. But we're all good there. Anyway, this is a football podcast, but we begin because, Chase, where does Braylon Mullins' shot seen around the world rank for you in greatest NCAA tournament moments?
I mean, it's top 10 most definitely. That's a given. I think the shot climbs its way up if UConn is able to get the job done and win the national championship. I think
that's fair.
I think if UConn wins the Natty, I think it might be the greatest shot of all time.
I think that's a great point because you think about a lot of the other great shots. I don't like bringing his name up, but I'm going to because it's been brought up a lot. Christian Laettner, Duke obviously went on to win the national championship in 1992. Chris Jenkins, obviously, his shot won the national championship for Villanova in 2016. And then you also have Luke May in 2017. North Carolina wins the national championship that season. There are so many great shots in NCAA tournament history. I mean, if Gordon Hayward makes that half-court shot, that's the greatest in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And I think on top of that, Alex, I think the reason why I would say that this has the chance to be the greatest shot, Chris Jenkins' shot, I mean, it doesn't get really much better than that, than hitting a game-winning three as time expires to win a national championship. Doesn't get much better than that. But I think what's riding for UConn right now is the fact that if UConn's able to get the job done within the next 5 or 6 days, once the championship comes up, and they got to get through Illinois, but if they're able to win the championship, that's 3 out of 4. All right. And you know what happens when you win 3 in a very short time frame. I mean, it's a dynasty.
It is.
And again, it adds to it because it's like, you know what? UConn, when they came into the game against Duke, everybody's like, Duke's gonna win this game. They should. I mean, UConn struggled against St. John's a couple weeks back, and Duke beat St. John's in a hard-fought game. So it's like, you know what? Duke should be all right. And they were up 19, but then you obviously know what March is. And what March is exactly what happened in that game. So
what's that Ian Eagle saying that he said on his call?
I mean, it's March. Expect the unexpected. I mean, there's so many different ones, but But again, I think the fact that, if UConn goes on to win the national championship, that'll be 3 out of 4. And I mean, we got to have talks about Danny Hurley. We got to have talks about this UConn program once again. And I mean, truly, I think the ceiling is the best shot of all time. The reason why Christian Laettner's shot it was actually the first one he hit against the UConn isn't talked about enough is because they didn't win the national championship that year.
That's right.
That's the thing. I mean, it was a great shot and it was big time, the Duke UConn rivalry, but it doesn't get talked about that much because Duke didn't finish the job. The reason why Duke's, Christian Laettner's shot against Kentucky's talked about so much is because Duke went back to back. They were able to win the national championship and take down Michigan. So although it was such a great play, there's a little bit more to it. And I mean, how much greatness there was in that shot, the greatness, there's still another level that can be obtained in the next week for UConn and Braylon Mullins. I mean, the kid's from Greenfield, Indiana, and he sends the Huskies back to his home state.
It doesn't get much better than that when you just put it in that context alone. Now, as you said, obviously, as the Pirates are going to go up 8-3, as that ball might be out of Great American Ballpark, and it almost is. So there's that. I'm going to turn this off if that's okay. Here's how I look at it, and I wrote this on my Substack earlier this week. If you didn't believe it before, you better believe it now. UConn is absolutely a blue blood, and they may keep rising. Here's the thing, Chase, when you mentioned 3 out of 4. Do you understand what era of college basketball we're in right now?
It's the NIL era. I mean, there's pain. You gotta retain your roster. Yeah, you gotta retain it's more impressive to retain your roster than it is to get players in now.
So the amount of parity that exists among college basketball is extraordinary. But if UConn wins another national championship, we're going to have to recognize that even in the one-and-done era, they still won 2 national championships. And then in the era of the transfer portal and NIL, they will have won 3 out of 4 national championships. Do you understand how impressive that is?
Yeah, no, and on top of it, and you look at guys that are going one and done, obviously, still. So you've got money, you've got portal, you've got one and dones. There's so much that goes into college basketball. It's literally the pros, but for young adults.
All right, you ready for this stat on the UConn Huskies?
It's here.
So I also said that Dan Hurley is building a giant, not just at UConn, but in New England, okay?
Yeah.
If you take the number of national championships that UConn men has won and UConn women has won since 1995, when they won their first national championship with Gino Auriemma. So take UConn women's 12 and UConn men's 6, and then add that to the Patriots, Celtics, Bruins, and Red Sox.
Oh, boy.
Since 1995, New England has seen 31 national and world championships. Cincinnati went 31 years without a playoff win when I'm talking about the Bengals. What kind of magic potion is in New England?
I don't know. I have no idea. And on top of it, I mean, the last time that UConn men or women's team didn't win the national championship, I mean, it was back in 2021, 2022 season. So,
oh yeah, there is that. But the last time the men or women weren't in the Final Four was like 2008 or something like that.
It builds. It's unbelievable. It's unreal.
I mean, like, and just imagine if UConn men wins again and UConn women wins again. I think it was very intentional and deservedly so that Dan Hurley mentioned Gino Auriemma in his postgame interview with Tracy Wolfson on CBS. When he referenced the UConn culture, he didn't just mention Jim Calhoun and Kevin Ali. He mentioned Gino Auriemma. I mean, you look at the number of players that have come out of UConn men, UConn women basketball, in the NBA and WNBA. The list is extensive, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And on top of it, I believe that would this be the third or fourth time that both the men and women have won the national championship if both teams complete the feat? So
I looked it up. It'd be the third. They won in 2004 and 2014. So it'd be the third time both winning in the same year.
Well, think about it. Didn't it happen in was it 2010, 2011, or was that just short? I believe because I know UConn. Okay,
that was UConn men's.
That's right. You're right.
You're right. Lost, which I thought they had won that year. I went back.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing about UConn men's basketball, Chase. 3 of their previous 6 national championships, they were not a number 1 seed in the tournament.
Man, I mean,
not even a number 2 seed.
Yeah, and on top of it, I mean, the one year where they were a number 1 seed, they were the best team in the country by far.
Go back and look at the scores of those 6 games, and go back at the last time they played Illinois and how that game turned out. It was tied at 23 late in the first half. Then UConn went on a 30-0 run, literally prompting Stan Van Gundy to say, "Who can compete with them?"
Nobody did, as they hoisted their second straight national championship trophy in Glendale, Arizona. Why not?
Yeah, so UConn, Illinois on Saturday, 6:09 on TBS from Indianapolis. You're a good friend. By the way, have you talked to Ian Eagle since that game on Sunday?
Talked to him Monday, actually. Yes.
What did he have to say about it?
He spelled out the word insane. That's pretty much all I got to say.
So my University of Cincinnati English Education Spelling Education tells me that's spelled Insane.
Yes.
Which, so UConn will play Illinois Saturday night, 6:09 on TBS. Ian Eagle, Grant Hill, Bill Raftery, Tracy Wolfson on the call from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Westwood One's coverage with Kevin Kugler. I forget who his analysts are. I believe Robbie Hummel is one of them. I'll get that to you here in just a minute. It is Kevin Kugler. Let me find it right here. Where is this thing here? Whoops, I'm on the.
But then the giant game afterwards is Michigan Arizona. I'm doing a Final Four preview tomorrow. So if you guys want to see more of that, tune in. But I mean, obviously these two games are going to be great. But I specifically cannot wait for that nightcap game. That's going to be an absolute battle of the Titans right there.
It's going to be. I mean, you want to talk about two teams that have size, two teams that have shooters, Arizona and Michigan. I mean, Michigan's looked utterly dominant this entire tournament run. Arizona has two. Little test against Purdue. I think that served them well. I mean, they were terrific in the second half in the Elite Eight. By the way, it's Robbie Hummel and PJ Carlissimo, along with Andy Katz. That's a good quartet right there. I think it's obviously one of the big prevailing questions in the Final Four chase. Is this the year the Big Ten snaps their 26-year streak without a national championship?
Well, there's a 50% chance. So someone's got to break through, you know. I mean, I don't.
Michigan both win on Saturday, and then the answer is yes before the bowl even tips off Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the winner of that Michigan Arizona game is going to be an overwhelming favorite in the national championship game. But again, we've seen it before. Don't count everybody out. Don't count Illinois out because they've got a great scorer in Keaton Wagler and. You know, some other guys as well. I love Stojakovic's kid, Andre. I mean, he's a great player off the bench, and it starts with yeah. Again, there's a whole list of guys, and then UConn with what Terrence Reed Jr. has been doing. I mean, he's been an absolute monster. So again, there's a whole preview coming out tomorrow. So you know, just tune in for that one. But I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. It should be a fun Saturday night. Final Four back in Indianapolis. Second game at approximately 8:49. I mean, Arizona, I mean, that's the crazy thing. All we're talking about is UConn and the shots seen around the world. But there's another game afterwards on Saturday that may be even bigger and maybe even better than what we have in the first game. And, like, don't underestimate Illinois. I mean, they beat Houston in the Sweet 16, and they held off a very gritty Iowa team in the Elite Eight. So they are extremely battle-tested. I mean, Arizona, Michigan is going to be, I mean, that feels like the national championship. And then here's the crazy thing. The winner of that game may face UConn in the national championship, and they have to get through another behemoth in college basketball.
Exactly. That storyline. It's a storylines business, and you've got all of them that you can ask for.
Yeah, you do. That you do. Okay. Basketball talk aside, well, actually, real quick, Chase, we have not done a show since the Bearcats have hired a new head coach, Jared Calhoun. You, of course, hosted the ESPN Plus live stream with Terry Nelson after the press conference. Your thoughts on Jared Calhoun, the man, the head coach? It seems like a good hire for Cincinnati.
A big fan of the hire. I think that it was, without a doubt, pretty much everybody in the city of Cincinnati that follows the Bearcats hoops. I mean, everyone was like, yep, this is the guy. We've wanted him for a minute. The Bearcats get him. The energy was just, obviously at an introductory press conference, the energy is obviously going to be high, but it truly felt different from any time that I've been there over the last few years. But I think not even just from my own senses, you could just tell from guys like Terry Nelson, Corey Blunt, Steve Logan. You can go down the entire list of people that we talked to, the entire list of people that were there, including, obviously the great Bob Huggins in attendance. The energy looks like it's kind of taken a rewind back to the old days, back in the 90s and the 2000s in Cincinnati. And I think Coach Calhoun is going to be all gas, no brakes. They're going to have a very systematic approach to it, efficient approach to it. And I couldn't be any more excited to watch these guys play up close and personal next year.
And the only thing left for John Cunningham to do is make Charlotte the first opponent of the 2026-27 season. Drama as if we need another layer of it with Wes Miller. He got hired at Charlotte, but Jared Calhoun, I agree with you. Like, I was in Fifth Third Arena for his press conference. It felt like a head coach was finally commanding the room. Not getting everybody fired up or enthusiastic about what Cincinnati basketball is and could be with this new head coach. No, this is Jared Calhoun saying, we need to do this. We need to be this. That's what really got me going. When he talked about how Cincinnati basketball could be the most dominant team in this city and get this city rocking and rolling again, he understands. He's seen this program from afar since he was last year in 2004. I'm excited for it. Now the Bearcats are in the Big 12. I'm excited to see what he can do in the portal when it comes to recruiting. And that first game, even though it's still 7 months away, the excitement already building. And by the way, Quentin Coates homered yesterday for UC baseball. So
trust me, I get alerted when the boogeyman does something good.
The boogeyman, yeah. How about that? You know what hasn't happened since we last hosted a show is the Bengals signing a linebacker. They still have not done that. But they did re-sign Joe Flacco. They did. It has been reported this week that he has 2 void years at the end of his deal, so that, I guess, is a good thing. What else have they done? They did sign 3 starters in free agency, but
they haven't done anything since we really got on the last time.
Here's the thing: they actually have had a good free agency, but I just feel like it could have been better.
Yeah, no, I agree. They started off strong. They did. They started off pretty strong. I mean, Brian Cook, Boye Mafe, it took a day off or so, and then they got Jonathan Allen. I mean, I think those 3 signings I like. They just, like you said, they could have done more. I know their big thing in the front office is talking about age, getting off of guys' contracts by the time they turn 30 and everything else. But my question is, and this could still happen, but obviously I don't have as close of an ear to insiders and everything else with the team. But why couldn't they have gone after a Bobby Wagner for a 1-year deal?
Well, the crazy thing is they still can.
Yeah, exactly. They still can, but I feel like everyone around town that follows the team just kind of has that vibe of they just won't, And
yeah, I think also, we're not even asking them to sign a starter at linebacker like a Devin Lloyd or Leo Chenal or Caden Ellis. We're asking them for them to bring in a veteran that can help 2 guys that were clearly lost last season.
Yeah.
If you they put Barrett Carter, into the starting lineup last year. They benched Logan Wilson, then they traded him. Okay, so you traded your veteran leader, but yet you don't have anybody here to help your young guys develop.
It's puzzling.
I just don't get it.
And again, I've kind of said this entire offseason, and again, we have still a great ways to go, but we have issues if the Bengals roll out Barrett Carter as their week 1 starter at linebacker. We've got big problems. And that shows how, again, it's we're banking on Barrett Carter to be a great player in year 2 and stuff like that. The leaps and bounds that Barrett Carter would have to make from year 1 to year 2 just to be a potential serviceable player is an immense gap an immense leap that he has to take to make it the serviceable, because it wasn't cutting it last year. I know he's a rookie. You give rookies a break here and there, but man, that wasn't cutting it. And again, like we mentioned, go out and sign a veteran linebacker. Go out and sign a guy that not just has been back there that has seen things, a guy that actually has experience, a guy that's played in big games and such. Bobby Wagner is getting up there in age, but Bobby Wagner still had like over 150 tackles last year for the Commanders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if he starts week 1, I mean, I still feel like the Bengals would be in pretty good hands. And on top of it, you know, he's mentoring those guys with his words, with how he acts around the facility, leading by example, all the different aspects as a leader that Bobby Wagner is, and he is a future Pro Football Hall of Famer. Get a guy like that in a room on the defensive side of the football, and you can see what happens with the core that struggles the most and is the youngest, the linebacking core. Get someone in there like that. But it just doesn't feel like the Cincinnati Bengals are going to do that.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, even I think back to 2020, remember when Jermaine Pratt was going into year 2? You didn't really know what to think of him, although he showed some flashes in the second half of the 19 season. And then you had a rookie in Logan Wilson. You had a rookie Nakeem Davis-Gaither. What did they do? They brought in Josh Bynes. Yeah. Not a huge deal, but Josh Bynes had been there before. He was able to show them the ropes and then allow Wilson to take off his second season. It allowed Jermaine Pratt to be playoff P and making all those big plays.
Yeah.
In 21 and even in 22. Heck, even in 23 for a little bit, he was making those plays. So,
yeah,
I mean, they've done it before, like, and maybe they think they can wait till after the draft and see how that plays out to decide if they want to sign a veteran linebacker. Look, the Bengals have had a good offseason. I'm not denying that. They brought back Dalton Reisner. It's one of the things we wanted them to do. Check. They brought back Joe Flacco. One of the things we wanted them to do. Check. They signed a safety. Check. Brian Cook. They signed an edge rusher, Boye Mafe. Check. They signed a defensive tackle, Jonathan Allen. Check. They've done all these good things. It's like, why can't they keep it going? I think that's where we're coming from. And maybe Carter and Knight do take the next step next season. I hope they do, because I do think that they deserve a second chance. If you keep revolving the door at linebacker, that's not also necessarily a good thing. So you have to give those guys a chance. But there is just a worry among Bengals fans, including us. We saw how bad it got last year. Carter looked lost. Demetrius Knight looked lost, slow. I mean, there's
no time for growing pains. We can't do this anymore. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. When you have young guys, it's going to happen. All right. It's just the fact that the young guys that are having growing pains play such a big part on the defense, and it really comes across. It shows voids. It shows, chances for offenses that take advantage of those guys. So the Bengals, yes, they have done that before. Josh Bynes bringing them in, and I like that. They need to take it a step more, and they need to be all in. They have to go the all in approach. And on top of it, if you're just kind of hoping things work out, like if the Bengals are hoping things work out, man, that you lost from the start right there, because you want to have that chance where you're drafting your best player available. You're drafting stuff. This is your cherry on top, icing and everything else. I get it. The Bengals are picking 10th overall, so obviously problems are there if you're picking in the top 10. But if you're able to go out again and sign a linebacker, and then you're able to draft you could go pretty much a lot of different places. You can go get a corner. You can go get another linebacker if you're one. You can go get another edge rusher. You can do whatever the heck you want if you're able to solidify something like that. It was very evident that the Bengals needed to sign at least one proven starter or player at every level and position of that defense, maybe outside of corner, but they needed to get one of those guys. They've gotten pretty much everything you could ask for, like you mentioned, Alex, except for the linebacker position. And it's
such a glaring weakness. And you talk about you can't have growing pains this year. No, you can't, because they thought last year, well, we'll have growing pains. Dude, this is Joe Burrow's prime. Okay? If you had won Super Bowl 56, if you had made the playoffs in 23 or most certainly 2024, then last year if you wanted to say it was a growing pains year, all right, fine. Yeah. Dude, you have not been to the playoffs in 3 years with Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Like, there's no time for growing pains. I even said this on the Bengals Squad show yesterday, Chase, and I think people are vehemently, including my two co-hosts, disagree with me, but that's okay. I think it was smart that Katie Blackburn didn't speak at the spring meetings in Phoenix.
Okay, I'm not gonna go. I don't know about that.
Do you want to hear why I think that? And I totally see what you're saying. Here's why. Remember last year, Chase, when she said, "Well, Trey Hendrickson should be happy with some of the things we're offering." well, we could technically go anywhere when it comes to these stadium lease negotiations. Boom, distractions right there. Whole season derailed. In a
Okay.
sense,
Okay. Okay.
first off, Katie Blackburn is not very good when it comes to speaking to the media. We know that. Okay.
Okay.
At least Duke Tobin is to a degree.
I
Zach
can see
Taylor, I
that.
think, also is. All right. But here's the thing, Chase.
Yeah.
Don't have her talk where there's national media there. Can you imagine if she had said something to Mike Florio ran with it? Yeah, game over.
Yeah.
Or
I can see where you're coming from there. You know,
have her talk in June. Have her talk after minicamp. Like,
okay.
have your whatever title she is, executive vice president. I already forget. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, have her talk in June, like when the team goes, and then wherever for a few weeks during the summer. Like, have her set a tone right there and then. That's fine. Be intentional about if you're not going to do it at the spring meetings. But you think she should have spoken, I'm gathering.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, I mean, when you put it's a pretty good argument right there because, the Bengals don't need headlines. You're right. The Bengals don't need any extra headlines as it already is because the national media already portrays them as one certain light. You don't want somebody to put their foot in their mouth and then give them more, more things more bulletin board material at that point for the media to talk about.
Yeah, in that setting.
Yeah, in that setting as well. That's a great point.
I mean, look, we know that this organization is not very transparent with their own fan base, and yes, that is frustrating. But like, you have to be intentional about when you speak to the media, and then as a result, it gets portrayed to the fans. I think it's very interesting because that you haven't made the playoffs the last 3 years. It feels like whatever you do say, no one's going to really receive it with positivity.
Yeah.
Because fans are frustrated. I mean, Joe Burrow's frustrated, I think, because he hasn't been healthy. And I think by the time he came back last year, he realized, yeah, we have a shot, but not a great shot. I just wonder what he's thinking. If this season doesn't play out the way he hopes it does, and then there are those who can say, well, hey, at least we got a new head coach. That's not the point here. The point here is to win.
Yep.
The point here is to get back to the playoffs and at the very least win a playoff game and say, okay, we're heading back in the right direction. We're heading in a championship direction. Again, the Bengals have had a very good offseason. I would even say that in terms of who they've brought back, in terms of who they have signed in free agency. I'm very interested in seeing if they do the draft. Let me ask you this, Chase. If they draft Sonny Styles, are you like, okay, now I see the vision with linebacker?
Yeah, I'd be down for that. I would be completely down to see what goes on there. You want to hear something about over the last 3 years for Joe Burrow? So in 2023, Burrow went 5-5. In 2024, Burrow went 9-8, and in 2025, Burrow went 4-3, I believe. 18-16 over 3 years. But again, obviously, you're like, okay, like that's not his fault. It really isn't, because in that time frame, he's completed 68% of his passes, 258 yards per game. He's thrown for 9,000 yards in the course of 34 games. And his average, if you average it out, per season, if you combine, because again, you have 17 games, that's an average of 4,500 yards per season. And he has 75 touchdowns and 20 picks. And we have not made the playoffs. We haven't made the playoffs.
We have not made the playoffs. I don't know if we would have made it in 23 if Burrow hadn't gotten hurt. I don't know if we would have made it last year if Joe Burrow does not get hurt and misses, 9 games in the middle of the season. But the bottom line is you should be in the playoffs every single year with a quarterback like Joe Burrow. Your defense cannot be as bad as it's been. And it's the problem with the front office and the way they do contracts. They're so focused on the next season. And Sean Payton, I don't know if you saw this quote yesterday from Sean Payton, Chase. He goes, the biggest mistake that organizations, head coaches can make is they try to win the day, win the free agency day, win the draft day, win the off-season day. You got to be able to be in position to have long-term success. Yeah. That's what separates organizations like the Rams and the Eagles and the 49ers. And, they're back in this conversation, but the New England Patriots. So the Bengals try to focus on just the upcoming season. That's fine. But then by the time they get to a few seasons down the road, when it comes to contracts, they don't know what to do. And then they feel like they can't re-sign them. They get cold feet, and then they don't make moves that they should make. That's the issue. And if they had help from the outside, I guarantee you they'd be better. Oh, by the way, did you read a Q&A in the Enquirer this week with a former Bengals offensive lineman who says he'd love to be in a front office role, a consultant role, Chase? Andrew Whitworth. Can you imagine if he joins the
Bring
Bengals
him.
front office? The identity that would be set?
Yep, I can imagine, and that's a Bengals need. That's a big time Bengals need. And from working at our rundown, there's something that you need on your NFL mock schedule. It's that time of year, Alex. What are we needing right now?
What are we needing? You say? Well, yes. On this rundown, we had nerding on NFL's mock schedule. So he released it in all its glory last week. This is like a. Like I'm looking at it right now. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I may have lost count. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 different types of games labeled on here. How there's 19 colors to do that, I have no idea, but more power to him.
Yeah.
This is incredible what I'm seeing here. Okay. Where do we want to start? Do you want to start with his mock schedule or my mock schedule for Sunday Night Football?
Let's go with his first. We'll look at that, and then let's take a look at a couple of your best games, and we'll reveal the whole one on another episode.
All right, that's fine. Now, before we begin, do you have any marketing pitches?
None. I don't have any marketing pitches. I'm trying to make it through the Final Four, and then I'll have marketing pitches ready to
go. Fair enough. Okay. So here's nerding on NFL's mock schedule for SNF on NBC going into its 21st season. Opening night kickoff, he's got Bears at Seahawks. Now, that's on a Wednesday this year. It's going to be on Wednesday, September 9th. Thank goodness that's the first game.
Yeah.
We've got the Bills at the Broncos, Week 1 Sunday night. That's a fantastic matchup. And a new addition to the SNF on NBC slate. Did you know Bills-Broncos has never been an SNF on NBC game?
Well, I know they were Monday Night Football a couple of years back.
Yes, they were. Now, this next game has been an SNF on NBC game and has featured 2 different quarterback matchups and will now feature a third this year. We got Packers at Patriots in Week 2.
I like that. A lot. All right,
week 3, we got a battle of the birds and the last 2 Super Bowl champions, Seahawks at Eagles.
All right.
Week 4, we're going back to the West Coast. Chiefs at Chargers, a divisional showdown right out of the gate.
Yeah, that never disappoints.
Week 5, this is interesting. Again, this is a mock schedule, but it's fun to think about as the actual schedule. And then the actual schedule will be better. Week 5 right now, this could be easily be a flex game or flexed out. But Vikings at Buccaneers.
Okay, okay. Kyler Murray versus Baker Mayfield. I can see the vision. I see it.
I didn't even think about it that way because that's 2 Heisman Trophy winners, 17 and 18, back to back.
From Oklahoma.
Week 6. No, that is true. Yes. Bears at Bills.
I like that one. I really think Bears Bills is going to be one of the first 2 SNF games to open up the new stadium for Buffalo.
I would not be shocked. We got the Giants at Cowboys Week 7, a classic on the SNF on NBC slate.
I can rock with that one. I can, and I feel like Giants Cowboys. I think that if the Giants don't open up the season against the Seahawks, like the friskiness of what's going on with that, I think that they could open up, or they could be Week 2 in Dallas. I could see that.
Ooh, Week 2. We've seen it in Week 2 before. If
Multiple
you know, you
times.
know. Yes. Week 8, we've got the day after Halloween, the Bengals and the Steelers in Pittsburgh.
I can get behind that. I can. They've played on November 1st before. I will say they have played that day.
Yes.
In 2015.
Yes. The Bengals picked off Big Ben not once, not twice, but 3 times. Week 9, the Battle of LA, Chargers and Rams.
Yeah, that was supposed to be an SNF game back in 2022, but the Rams were going through a lot, and the Chargers made the playoffs.
Yes. Week 10, Ravens at Colts.
Ooh. Get that Lucas Oil.
First SNF on NBC game, I believe, in Indianapolis since 2016 Thanksgiving night.
Wow. That'll be the first true SNF game of theirs since 2015 when they ran that stupid play on 4th down.
Ask Pat McAfee about that.
Maybe not. I would definitely.
Week 11. I am shocked this has never been an SNF on NBC game. Commanders at 49ers.
Wow, that maybe not late, maybe not that late in the year, but I could see that one.
It's just a question of how the Commanders do this year after a down year last year. The Niners, will probably be good. Thanksgiving night, Seahawks at Rams in LA, rematch of the NFC
Yeah.
Championship. Can't go wrong there. And then Sunday night, classic Bears at Packers.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you can put that one anywhere on the schedule.
Week 13, Ravens at Cowboys. That's always an interesting matchup.
All right.
Week 14, we've seen this on SNF on NBC before. If you know, you know. Patriots at Chiefs.
Yep.
Week 15, Cowboys at Packers. Maybe there'll be a winner and a loser in this one.
Could be.
Week 16, Niners at Falcons. We saw this last year. And then Week 17, Steelers at Eagles.
Ooh. Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't mind that scheduled. I really don't. Not a bad one. But there's a couple movements you can go from there.
Very strong. Now, do we want to go through the Monday night and Thursday night, or do we want to go to like holiday games and
give me what is supposed to be the main 4:00 games?
The main 4:00 games on the schedule. Okay.
Because you can kind of tell which ones on that. I know it mentions 4:00, but you can kind of tell which ones would probably be the main games.
Yeah, I'll give you one Monday night game that is, well, the Bengals are on Monday Night Football twice at home. Week 6 against the Ravens, Week 12 against the Chiefs. I mean, that's some serious mock scheduling right there. Yeah. But I'll tell you what my favorite Monday night game, Week 1's Eagles at Giants. That's a really good one. Week 2 is Lions at Bills. So that's – but Week 3 is really interesting, Chase. It's Patriots at Jaguars.
A size down TIA Bank Field.
That's going to be so weird.
Beyond.
That's something else that's come out of the spring meetings this week. So Jacksonville's going to play in a reduced stadium this year, and then they're going to play in Orlando in 27. Not the worst thing in the world, but like that. I mean, that is just
randomness.
What are they doing for 2 years?
That's a great question.
I don't know. I'll give you a Thursday night game. How about this? Week 2 Thursday, it's Bengals at Texans.
Ooh, okay.
And then 3 and 4, you're running the NFC North. Vikings at Packers, Lions at Bears. But another Thursday night game for me that stands out is Rams at Eagles, Week 13. That is going to be some man ball. And then Week 17, Chiefs at Broncos. Running it back in Week 17. This time on New Year's Eve. This time in Denver. Well, that's going to be some good football right there.
No, you can't complain about that.
So we'll go through the featured games since those are the highest rated games or most watched games. So Week 1, Chase, is a doubleheader on both networks. Okay. Now, this is very interesting. So here are the 4 matchups, and we can determine which is which. So the 4 matchups are Raiders at Chiefs, Jaguars at Cowboys, Packers and Lions, Patriots at Chargers.
Okay. I would guess that Packers-Lions moves back to Fox after they were on CBS last year. And then Jaguars, Cowboys, CBS.
You're saying Packers-Lions is a featured game?
Yeah. I know they did Week 15. Okay. I know Week 15 the last couple of years has been has been the double feature game. Sorry, I can't speak. I know it's been the double feature game, but
so how about the Cowboys and hosting the Jaguars Week 1, 425? Really buying stock into the Jaguars. So you're not having the Chiefs on any of the featured games. That's interesting, which I did think about. Patriots Chargers feels like a Kevin Harlan Week 1 game.
Yeah, I would say so. Oh, you said Patriots Chargers? I didn't even see that. Jeez.
This is the crazy thing. Like 2 of these games are not going to be.
Yeah, that's just not going to happen. That schedule is just happen. That
I
lineup
mean,
of
those
4
are
o'clock games.
like Packers-Lions should be on national TV both times.
Yeah, that should be national TV. If that happens to be Mahomes' return, it's going to be on national TV. The Cowboys playing against anybody that made the playoffs from last year's on national TV, and the Patriots and Chargers playoff rematch is national TV. That's just an that's an abundance of games right there. I don't think that's just not gonna happen. I think we all know that when we're making mock schedules.
And that's what my thinking is too. Like Packers-Lions is just gonna get shoved behind the Cowboys or the Chiefs. This is Packers-Lions.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know that. I see that there's just an abundance there, but even if you make your way to week 2, you got Cowboys Rams as the main one, as the main 4 o'clock game.
That's fine. And then Giants Seahawks is the second game. That's fine.
An interesting one with week 3 being Bucks Cowboys in Rio. I don't know. You got Broncos. You got Broncos Chargers as well, week 3.
Well, that's CBS. That's got CBS written all over it. And Bills Raiders, I mean, it's your secondary game. I mean, this is Fernando Mendoza is going to face Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes in 2 of his first 3 games.
Yeah, and then he faces last year number 1 overall pick Cam Ward in week 2.
4 or 5 game, yeah, you got that right.
Ravens, Texans, Seahawks, Niners. I went
CBS.
There's just not going to be like these 425. There's just no way that any of these ones are paired. These are all like too great of games. I mean,
well, he even acknowledged that like there are some quirks.
He does a great job doing the schedule. Don't get me wrong. He does a great job with these.
His brain is. I want to know what's inside of that brain. I mean, week 5, Packers at Rams, Seahawks at Broncos. Like Seahawks at Broncos, you feel like that should be a featured game, but it's probably going to be Green Bay and LA as the featured game. I went Fox for that week. Week 6 is pretty easy to tell. It's Niners and Chiefs is going to be that.
Let me get your a couple of your best SNF games before we get on out of here, because the thing is with mock schedules, it's like obviously you want to think about how you would spice things up, but then you also got to think about how the league will think too, and it's a combination of those two things that you have to kind of meld together. And obviously nobody gets it all right unless you're Mike North, unless you're the simulator that Mike North tries to run things through.
Unless you're Hans Schroeder.
Or Hans. So, yeah. So, again, it's like it's a combination. You got to blend a lot of things together. It's not simple.
Yeah. By the way, week 7 for the mock schedule has 3 425 games. And on 99 NFL, Eagles Niners is getting the featured game. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
We'll stop there. I mean, there were some other great ones on there. But okay, some of my best SNF on NBC games. Okay. Let me give you some marketing pitches. Then I have a genius 425 on CBS week 1 marketing pitch I'm going to sell to you. Okay. Week 1 Sunday night. Where else would you rather be than in Western New York for the Bills' new Highmark Stadium opening? Then when the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen host Drake May and the New England Patriots, but it doesn't stop there, Chase.
Yeah.
100-year-old Marv Levy is going to lead the where else would you rather be than right here, right now chant.
Okay. All right. I like it. I like it.
Hey, oh, my gosh. That's going to be a good matchup. Let's go to week 2. You know what some of the lyrics are to SNF on NBC, Carrie Underwood and the open chase?
What?
Waiting for the game that means red, white, and blue.
Okay.
But you know what matchup screams red, white, and blue?
Giants, Cowboys?
More like 49ers at the Giants.
Oh. Okay, I like that.
All right. Week 4. You know, back in like 2004, 2005, 2006, even definitely 07, what's one matchup that you circled on the schedule when it came out?
I was young.
All right.
Patriots, Colts, Steelers, Chargers.
Ooh, yes. The first one you mentioned. I forgot about Steelers, Chargers. They've had some classics on SNF on NBC, by the way.
Yeah. What? Okay. Well, where are we going with this?
Okay. So you did circle Colts and Patriots. But there was another matchup on there that you also circled. The Steelers and the Patriots, Chase Younts. Remember the first time they played on SNF on NBC? There was a certain tight end who had a breakout game on November 14th of 2010. His name was Rob Gronkowski. Let's run it back in Foxborough 16 years later. Steelers at Patriots, week 4. Okay. You gotta have a marquee matchup in week 4. All right. What other one do I want to give you? A lot of these are the same that Nerdy on NFL has. I did put Lions at Packers week 13. First Sunday in December at Lambeau Field. Ooh, you want some smash mouth football? Well, you got it. Yeah. All right, but let's go to Thanksgiving night. Chase, did you know this is the 250th birthday for the United States of America?
I'm aware.
Did you know that the first capital of the United States was maybe was it the first? One of the capitals previously was Philadelphia.
I'm aware of that.
Now it's Washington, D.C. But do you know what America's animal is?
The eagle.
The bald eagle. Oh.
Yes.
So what about a Commanders Eagles and Philly matchup in the birthplace of independence on Bird Day, Thanksgiving night?
I like that. I like that one. Okay.
Those are my best SNF on NBC marketing pitches. All right. Now, I've got another one on CBS for the doubleheader in week 1.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right. At 1 o'clock, let's go with a classic Iron Eagle game. Ravens at Steelers.
Yeah.
The first edition of the rivalry with Jesse Minter and Mike McCarthy's the 2 head coaches. Ravens at Steelers, 1 o'clock on CBS. 2 first-year head coaches, Chase. All right. So what could possibly be the 425 game?
Yeah.
Well, let's row the riverboat gently, not down the stream, but the Ohio River to Cincinnati for the 2 longest tenured head coaches in the AFC. Oh, but wait a minute. That isn't even the headline in this matchup, Chase, because when you got Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow going at it, Chiefs at Bengals, 425 on CBS in Cincinnati. How good of a genius marketing pitch was that?
I would run through a brick wall if that was the opening game. And we almost got it in week 2 of 2024. And that game really lived up to the hype as well.
Every game between those 2 teams and those 2 quarterbacks certainly has. We get that matchup again this season. All right. Real quick, nerding on NFL for his Thanksgiving games, Chase. He's got Vikings-Lions on CBS. That's a good one right there. Did you know the Vikings swept the Lions last year?
Yeah, oddly enough.
I remember that when I was driving back from Kroger the other day. And I was like, I did not realize that until, on the Fox or on Fox America's Game of the Week. I mean, how much better can it get than Eagles and Cowboys?
Yeah, it serves up right there.
His Black Friday game, this is spicy. Okay, it's Patriots at Bills.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, division rivals, man. Why not? That's the whole theme of the weekend right there.
Christmas games, he's got Bills at Packers, Broncos at Chargers. That's a good one right there.
Wait, say that one more time?
Bills at Packers first game, and then Broncos at Chargers the second game. Now, you may have seen yesterday, Chase, that the spring meetings, their plan is to do a Netflix doubleheader and then a Fox game for Christmas. So imagine if the first 2 games I just mentioned were Fox games, and then Netflix games, and then the Fox game is according to Nerding on NFL, it's Chiefs at Seahawks.
Dang! Wow, Kenneth Walker returns home on Christmas.
Yeah, how about that?
Wow.
Saturday games, he's got 3 of them in week 15. Bengals at Panthers, Chiefs at Raiders, Rams at Seahawks. That's a gauntlet right there.
That was a great schedule.
He has 2 Saturday games in week 16. Personally, I think NBC should get both games. He's got Saints at Ravens, Texans at Steelers. That's a good doubleheader right there. Regardless. Week 17, he's got 5 games that could be Saturday or Sunday. Jaguars at Colts. That's interesting. Titans at Ravens. Rams at Buccaneers. Stop me if you've heard this before. Seahawks at Panthers, and then Saints at Bengals. I mean, that's good stretch right there. Now, here's an interesting quirk, Chase, to this schedule. He has the Texans playing 3 home games on Monday Night Football.
Yeah,
which is not going to happen.
Someone's got to campaign for it. Someone's got to campaign for it. So
I mean, the opponents are Buffalo, Jacksonville, and Dallas.
Dang, that's a lineup there.
I said for my Christmas games, I wanted Patriots at Jaguars and then Bills at Texans for the Netflix doubleheader. I haven't thought about my night game yet.
You know what? So I know this is the end of the show, but I'll leave you on a tease. I'll have my first SNF schedule ready to go by the next time we get on the show.
By the next time we get on this show, okay. Maybe the Reds will win a game by then.
I hope so. But again, next week I'll have the first rendition of the mock SNF schedule 1.0. I'm only doing 3. All right.
You're only doing 3. If you're doing 3, I might be able to whip up 2 more.
I'm doing maybe 2. It might be 2, 2.5. I don't know.
2.5. Okay.
I make it. I'm trying to make it very tedious because again, as we get closer to the schedule release, you start changing little things. You're like, this.
Well, then you start putting together your wish list. Now I'm having trouble coming up with my wish list this year.
Yeah,
because there's so many moving parts in the broadcasting realm, yes. Chase, and you've seen this. By the way, Chase, today is the first day, and this is not an April Fool's joke. The NFL Network is officially an entity of ESPN.
Yeah, that was one of the non-April Fool's jokes of the day. So crazy to think.
But I don't think it's going to be bad by any means.
I'm just intrigued to see what happens with it. Is all I'll say.
Real quick, the Columbus Blue Jackets may make the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Isn't that wild? I don't follow hockey like that, but that's pretty crazy.
Oh, you might want to after the Olympics.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
The NBA playoffs are approaching. My Knicks are probably going to be a 3, and they're going to get either Atlanta or Toronto in the first round.
Yeah, and my Warriors in the play-in bracket playing outstanding by the Gap Band the entire time they play. The unction is something right now.
The unction.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, that's. It's also. I'll tease this. Like we might do something on this show during the summer. So this coming season's the 25th season since the last realignment in terms of divisions in the NFL. So I wrote out like my candidates for an all AFC North team on I think it was Monday afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay. The names that I was coming up with, like I haven't thought of these names in like years. Excuse me.
I was gonna say I saw some of them. I was like, this is, yeah. I would enjoy to do that. So we can look more content there in the summer. But again, I mean,
do you want me to run through my whole first SNF on NBC mock schedule and then you give yours on the last time, or are we out of time today?
We will do that next episode.
Okay, so both of ours have it. So I'm going to keep mine. See, here's how good this was. I made 2. I made one if the Seahawks won the Super Bowl and then if the Patriots had won the Super Bowl.
Yep, was ready to go on that one.
I'll just spoil this because it's defunct now. If the Patriots had won the Super Bowl, I had them playing the Chargers on opening night, and then I had Packers at Bears as my Week 1 game.
Huh.
You know what I thought about too the other day, Chase? And this is it's kind of random, but it's not. You know the Bears ran 0 offensive plays last year when they had the lead against the Green Bay Packers in all 3 games?
Winning at the buzzer. That's a life to live. That's definitely a choice how to live life.
That something related to that rivalry will be on my wish list for the NFL schedule.
Mm-hmm.
See, a lot of people love mock drafts and free agency and transfer portal this and transfer portal that. No. The NFL schedule is the best time of the off season because then you can start making travel plans. I mean, Ryan and I are talking about going to Iowa for the Ohio State-Iowa game this year. Chase, you know what's going to be so cool? And the main reason I want to go is because I want to be part of the wave that they do at Kinnick Stadium.
That'd be nice.
Listen, that in a sport that has many great traditions, and unfortunately some of them are kind of falling by the wayside because of NIL and transfer portal era and rivalries. Now, long live the wave. Okay,
yeah, the traditions still live. That's for sure.
The traditions do live. It's just the traditions that come with the rivalry. But hey, Ohio State Michigan is still a rivalry.
There you go. All right, guys, that'll do it for this episode of the Waiting All Day for SNF podcast. We'll be back next week to talk our SNF mock schedule. It's full mock schedule. It's 1.0 and other things that come with that. So that being said, it's Alex Frank, Chase Younts. We'll see you guys next time here on the Waiting All Day for Sunday Night Podcast. Have a great day.